Hey, friends. How are we doing tonight? Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Welcome, Nancy. I do say hi to her every day. I really do. Sometimes she scares me, actually. So if you ever see that on camera, that'd be pretty funny. So welcome in, everybody. Okay. Well, Ray, you don't have to go back very far. We just started. Oh, thanks, Brooklyn. I appreciate that. I was going to go out and lay out today. And when I got off the live, I walked out and Vincent was home. And I was like, you're early. So I didn't get to go because I had to go run some errands before I came on the live tonight. So yeah, so thank you. I appreciate that. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Ashley. You said I look adorable. I appreciate that so much. We're going on our vacation, so I'm getting some new clothes to go. Like to take with me, and I'm so excited because I haven't bought myself new clothes in like God knows how long, really. I buy stuff here and there, but my weight fluctuates so much. I didn't want to go up in size, so I was like refusing. But now I'm like, okay, let's just do it because it's going to be a good vacation. And I'm going to bring you guys with me. You're going to be along for it. So it'll be fun. Thank you, Jan. You guys are so sweet. I can just sit here and have you guys compliment me all night. That'd be nice. Thanks, Dreamcatcher. You guys are all so nice. Well, hello again, Glowbug. Yeah, if you didn't catch our live earlier, we did an afternoon live. Every once in a while, I'll hop on and I'll do like an afternoon. But if I'm not on in the afternoon, I mean, you can always expect me to be here 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah, Mike, you're going to go to Cali with me. I told Vince, I was like, I'm going to do some lives. And like, because I mean, that would be crazy if I didn't do any lives. I would be going through live withdrawals for 1 week, like 1 week. I think we're going, well, 5 days, 6 nights or something like that. So it's going to be a fun time though. I'm going to bring y'all with me. If you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button. If this is your first time here on the channel, hello, hi, and welcome. My name's Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. You can call me either or. I don't mind. That's why they're here. I wanted to go ahead and put the channel membership in for everyone. If you're not a member and you want to become a member throughout the live, I usually put this in the chat for you guys. Hey, Wist, welcome in. You fall asleep. That's funny. I didn't take a nap today. I wish I would have though. I don't really get them very often. But since everyone's kind of scooting in, we'll go ahead and get kind of started with what we're doing tonight. But if you do like the channel and you want to become a member, I did put the link in there for you guys. If you're watching on a replay, just hashtag replay if you don't mind. That'll let me know that you were here. And actually hashtag replay and put your comments in there because I want to know what you guys think of what's going on. So we'll go ahead and get into tonight's case. Just trying to get the chat over on this screen a little bit. So tonight we're going to head back to Idaho. We're going back. Took a couple days, it seemed like. So did everyone get a chance to watch Bryan Kohberger's court hearing? Did everyone get a chance to hear that? Hey, Carrie. Hey, Kim. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Patty Q. Oh, thank you, Patty. That's sweet. So I think everybody's probably seen it. But if you haven't seen Bryan's last court appearance where he waived his right to a speedy trial, you can put a one in the chat, and then we'll get a feel of who has and hasn't. I'm not going to play it. I still haven't watched it myself. To be brutally honest with you guys, I haven't watched it myself. I'm just not ready to hear him. Like you guys saw my reaction. My reaction was a big reaction. But it is on Law and Crime and it's on Court TV. So I wanted to tell people where they could watch it. And the volume is a little tricky. So I sat down and I was going to watch it the night it came out. And I was like, no, I don't want to do anything with Bryan Kohberger tonight. And so Vincent was listening to it on his headphones and he said that it was really hard to hear. So a lot of you guys haven't, because you got mad. I was really mad too. I wonder if we should. What? Okay. Summer's on her way. Okay. Oh, thank you, Kim. Thank you. Order anything anytime. I love packing up stuff. It's like, because I need to get back on promoting it more, but so whenever people buy some stuff, I'm just like, oh, I love it. But if you didn't get to catch it, you didn't miss anything. He literally just said he's going to waive his right. The judge asked him, Vincent gave me the rundown. The judge asked him, a couple questions. He said, yeah, yes. And then what we read, in the live tweet, he said, do you understand what you're doing, or, what you're doing by waiving your right to a speedy trial? And Bryan Kohberger responded with absolutely. And that's what made me lose my stuff the other day. So yeah. Oh, Mindy, me too. It was a struggle to come back to do Idaho tonight. But once I heard Nancy Grace's podcast or her new video, we listened to a little bit of it last night, like 3 minutes. I was like, oh, this is good. This is real good. So I was like, we'll come back. Plus, we didn't finish out our series, so we'll finish the that out tomorrow, like part of it. So, oh well, thank you, Stephanie. Well, thank you. I have this outfit. Actually, it's a 2-piece. I have it in green too. I don't know why. It's like a teal though. I don't know why I got it in teal, but I did. Now, there were a lot of documents that came out. Not a lot, but there was a few of the documents that came out yesterday and today. And I don't know if you guys got a chance to see those, but we'll go through those in just a minute. Oh, thank you so much, Carrie, for the $4.99 super sticker. That's so nice. And you said you look beautiful tonight, Titanium. Thank you. I'm gonna start. Shoot, I'm gonna start putting on a regular t-shirt more often. I appreciate you guys. I'm here for it. I'm here for the love. You guys are all beautiful too. I love that. Before we do the documents though, I wanted to show you I can read it to you. Actually, I can show it to you. How about I show it to you? The Gonzalez family page, we'll go over to their family page on Facebook, and we, read their post. And we read the post the other day from when they were going into court. And that's what actually got me in my feelings, was because I read the Gonzalez's post about having people pray for them that this will go to trial. And then, in the next breath, I was literally reading that he's waiving his right to a speedy trial. So that was hard for me. And so I couldn't imagine being the families, especially if you're sitting there in court and you're hearing that. I couldn't imagine just having to sit still. They're a very strong family. Look at this though. Maddie K, look at those eyes. She got them from the Gonzalez side for sure. That's a cute baby. I don't care who you are. That's one cute baby. And that's a cute baby. I think she is so cute. She's like the cutest thing. Oh my gosh. Her little cheeks are so cute. It says here, the Gonzalez family page says, I want to send a huge thank you to everyone that supports us. We truly have an army of love standing right next to us. There are no words for what you all do for us on a daily basis. I wish I could meet each one of you in person and give you a hug and thank you. Oh. Things are going to get rough. Please stick with us. We need the Gonzalez army of love every step of the way. We love you all. God bless. That was just, I thought that was sweet. Oh, man. Alicia, yeah, Vince is not even here to enjoy me getting ready. He's not even here. It's funny. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, she said, please remember to show Tanya some love and hit that button, that like button. It's free. It is free. That's right, Catherine. She said that I love this family. The one good thing to come from this is getting to know this family. That's true. And the Chapins and the Mogans, as much as we've got to see the Mogans and the Kernodles, but really we've seen, the Chapin family and the Gonzalez family. Those are the two that really come forward. So we've got to meet them. So Sally Mae, they're not, but they are sisters. So Kaylee and Maddie have separate mom and dads, they're best friends, but they grew up together, I think since like middle school or 6th grade or something like that. They were little whenever they got together, and they did everything together, like everything. So when Steve refers to Maddie being his daughter, he thinks of her like one. So that's why if you ever hear him say that, that's why he does that. Cause they're all such a tight, two families. They're very tight with each other. So Now we'll go ahead and go over to the documents. I'm going to refresh this page one more time because I did this right before the live, like a few minutes before, and there was more documents that came out. I was like, what? So, okay, nope, they're all out. I did go through and I highlighted these. I highlighted portions of them. If they are going to be, actually, I'll tell you this part first. After we get done with the documents, we'll start that new Nancy Grace video. I think it's like 40 minutes long, roughly like that. And it's called I Am Blank, and it is Bryan Kohberger, and it's her doing a documentary on the case, and she has friends of his or acquaintances of his that sit down and do interviews with her, and in there it says like never before seen people that knew him. So we'll have to check it out. Now this one is pretty long, so I'm just going to read, like, these are all like examples. So I'm just going to read the top portions of the examples and give you guys the gist of what's going on in these documents. If the documents are in yellow, they're going to be from the courts. If they're in blue, they're going to be from the defense or Kohberger. And if they're in pink, it'll be the state or the prosecution side. And I really need to make a little banner or something that says that. Let me grab my drink and let me blow this up a little bit. Okay. I should have had my glasses out and ready beforehand, but I didn't. I have them on now. I'm ready. Like, I'm ready. I'm here. Okay. Maybe I could put me right here. There we go. That way it's easier to see for y'all. So this is the state of Idaho, plaintiff versus Bryan Kohberger. So this is going to be the defense. Reply to state's objection to defendant's motion to dismiss grand jury on grounds of error in grand jury instructions. Now comes Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through their attorney, J. Weston Logston, and hereby submits the following reply to the state's objection to his previously filed motion to dismiss the indictment for error in the instruction as to the standard of proof or to remand for a preliminary hearing. They really want that prelim. And then the first reason is, and then this, all that I don't have like, highlighted, it's just they usually give examples of old court cases. Or, something to look back on. So it says there is no Idaho Supreme Court authority binding on this court as to the standard of proof for a grand jury. Section 19-1107 sets the standard of proof for grand juries at beyond a reasonable doubt. And we read before the documents, citing the reasons why they wanted this to be thrown out as well. In the first one that they filed. There should be another one. Yeah. IC 19-1107 and Rule 6.5, A, conflict in the rules does not control because it is a substantive right. Sorry, guys. I was going to try to put the chat up here so I could see it better. And we'll go over this more too. I'm just going to read through them and then give you guys, a summary of what we went over. It says Mr. Kohberger asserts a theory the law allows and seeks a remedy this court can grant. The state's final argument is that erroneous instructions to a grand jury do not permit either dismissal or to treat the indictment as a presentment. And it says, first, the state claims only, this is what I thought was funny. It says, first, the state claims only statutory basis for dismissal can affect a grand jury relying on a case from 1927. Do you remember when the defense wrote that whole book and all of the references that they had were from, there was one from 900 and some year, like the year 900. I was like, well, that's not even when there was a law. Like they were citing laws from like the 1800s. And now they're like, saying something about this 1927. I was just like, I thought that was kind of funny, so I highlighted it because I thought it'd make you guys giggle, because we read through all of those that one night and they were all like super old examples. I wish I would have had that paper up. No, I don't have it over there. Sometimes I have like copies. It says the opinions of various district courts are not persuasive authority. And that's all for the first one. Now, the second one here is the waiver of the speedy trial. And I'll read through all of this here. And welcome in, everybody. I don't know, it doesn't show me there like how many people are in the chat. That's weird. I don't know. But welcome in. These are kind of like giving me a headache tonight. Maybe we'll just do this. Oh my gosh. Ashley, be careful out there. Be very careful. I just read your comment. Be careful out there. Don't let anyone drown, but don't you get hurt doing it. And yeah, and be really, really careful. And how's Shaggy doing? Speaking of which, I hope Shaggy's okay. Remind me to tell you a story about Shaggy later, like the character. So if you remember, because it just reminded me, so made me laugh kind of. So this is the waiver of speedy trial felony. It says defendant acknowledges that defendant has a right to have this case brought to trial within 6 months of defendant's arraignment in district court on an indictment or within 6 months of the filing of the information. Further, defendant acknowledges consulting with defendant's attorney regarding the right to a speedy trial pursuant to the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution, Article 1, Section 13 of the Idaho Constitution and Idaho Code Section 19-3501. Based upon careful consideration and consultation with the attorney, the defendant waives defendant's right to speedy trial. The defendant fully understands the advantages and disadvantages of waiving the right to a speedy trial and believes that it would be in the defendant's best interest to give up this right. The defendant further understands that once the right to a speedy trial is waived, the court may set the case for trial more than 6 months from the time in which defendant was arraigned in district court on an indictment or from the filing of the information. So, okay. Okay. Bryan Kohberger said these were his words. According to Brian Enton, and I'm going to believe Brian Enton because I do really like Brian Enton. He usually don't put out bull crap, but he said that Bryan Kohberger said he wanted to waive his right, or I'm not waive his right. I was reading that again. That he wanted to, go back to Idaho because he wanted to get exonerated. If you wanted to get exonerated, you have to first be convicted. So wouldn't you want to go to court in October, hurry up and get convicted? That way you can start exonerating yourself. I don't know. It's very weird to me. Summer in the house. There she is. She was working. I should have told the crowd. She was cutting and coloring. I need to color my hair bad, but I don't. It's been 15 years. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to get on something different, but your girl needs it. I got like a few too many. I think like 20 or more. I don't know. 20 that I could see. I mean, the only thing that I could think of is you waive your right to a speedy trial because you're scared. Yeah, the defense isn't ready. You would think that they could make like an agreement, like the prosecution, the defense, though, they could make an agreement. I don't know. Very, very weird. Yeah, be very careful, Ashley. Dang it. I don't like her going out like that. Is it dark out? Yeah. What time is it? It's like 8:36 now. Okay. So this is going to be the next document here. And welcome in, everybody. Thank you guys for being here. If you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, get us into that algorithm, More people come in and they chat. It's fun. Speaking of which, actually, you know what I need? Okay, I need to keep that right there so I can remember. I need to get like a new wireless mic. So this is going to be the state of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger, and it's in blue, so that's the defense. Motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct in withholding exculpatory evidence. Now, those are some big words. That's a big claim. Comes now Bryan C. Kohberger through his attorney of record and files a motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of a biased grand jury, inadmissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial, I said it right the first time, misconduct by withholding exculpatory evidence. This motion is based on the state's various violations during the grand jury pursuant to Idaho code. And then it gives you all of these codes that they list out, and it says, and prosecutor misconduct pursuant to Idaho criminal rule, and then it gives the code and the example there. It says, sorry, I have like a piece of hair on my face. Mr. Kohberger raises 24 issues which are set forth in full in the memorandum in support of motion to dismiss indictment and its attachments. And of course, those are redacted, and we don't get to see what the 24 issues are. 24 of them. Now, do you think that these were Bryan Kohberger? Sorry, I'm getting a tissue. Do you think this is Bryan like Kohberger writing these out? Like, okay, I see this one, or is it the defense? Because I don't know what they mean by like when they say Mr. Kohberger, but it should be like the defense, raises. I don't know. Unless he's really in there, like in his cell, writing them out. I told you guys, was it the last live or live before? I said something about like I could see him in his cell, just like with all of his little paperwork. Like every time I scroll through the list of documents, that's what I think of. Him just like sitting in there. Hey, Riddler. I know the prosecution is still waiting on evidence returns. That's why I'm wondering why the prosecution and the defense couldn't come to some sort of agreement. Like, hey, we know you guys need this stuff, but we don't have it yet. Because they got an extra 37 days. It's just crazy. I'm still shook. Still shook. Like, I think that'll probably be the most shook I'll ever probably. I shouldn't say that because something else will, shake me even more. But yeah, I was pretty shooken about that. For some reason in my head, like, I haven't been watching any true crime at all. Like, so in my head, I was thinking they have 37 extra days already. They're going to go to court like in October, and then they're going to, or like around October, end of this, like September or something, I was assuming. And then they're going to say, we're going to use our 37 days to extend it. And then I thought after that, like when that started getting to like, where it was, they had no more time. Then I thought maybe they would try to get like a delay. But because I didn't think that it was going to go to court in October necessarily. But I didn't think that I was going to hear that he was going to waive his right yesterday. Like, I was not ready for that. Oh, they got the days revoked? Okay. Did Taylor say the hearing that they received all the discovery? So she didn't say either way. She said that they had all the she said that they got all the discovery that the prosecution had, but that the prosecution was still waiting on more to come in. So she's just filing these, and they don't have it. So I don't know. Very crazy. Okay, let's go to the next. Yeah, I could see trial in 2025, Tony, for sure. I think personally, it's weird because I said this, but I didn't know that he was going to waive his right. But I knew that this case around this time, I knew, I said end of summer when kids are going back to school and things are just picking back up, like life happens. I felt like there wasn't going to be like a lot of people that were still interested as much in this case. I figured people will still be really interested, but not like they're filling every chat all the time just to get, information. And I think that could actually help the case in a way, because if it does, I think that's probably what they're trying to do. They're trying to see if, people stop talking about it. And in a couple years, they're going to go to trial. And just like Lori Vallow, I followed that case since day one, and I was so into that case. But then when I heard that they were only going to have audio in the courtroom, I was so like bummed because I knew I wasn't going to be able to like, get the full experience if I could just hear. And I hope so. I'm hoping that it is, on maybe not televised, but released later, at the very least. Hopefully. No bond request. No, West. Yeah. He has a life to return to. Yep. Why sit in jail without a bond? Yeah, I'm just like, why didn't he just go to court, get convicted, and then say, hey, I'm cool. I'm done. I'm going to exonerate myself now. I'm going to go home. I just don't. Oh, my Lord, have mercy. I mean, unless he used the word incorrectly, and he's not that. I mean, he just didn't know the word. I mean, he is a criminology student, but that doesn't mean he knows all the words, I don't know. It's very weird. Maybe Bill Thompson can ask him. I don't think he'd let him. So this is going to be for the courts. State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger. Order to file the memorandum in support of motion to dismiss indictment under seal. It's just saying that the 24 items we're not allowed to see them. The court having before its defendant's motion to file the memorandum in support of motion to dismiss indictment under seal and good cause appearing now, therefore, it is hereby ordered that the memorandum in support of motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury and admissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct and withholding exculpatory evidence shall be filed under seal pursuant to ICAR 32I1. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe the judge will loosen the gag order a little. I'm spitballing here because I don't know. That's just a long time to go without anything leaking, anything coming out, Shell, I agree with you. I think he was, I thought he was cool as a cucumber in the court hearing, not last time, but because I didn't watch last time and the white shirt. I didn't watch that one, but the one before that, he was sitting with his hands like this, like in front of him. And when you put your hands like that, like my hands are shaky. My hands always are shaky. They've always been like that. But like ever since I've been an adult, but he was just sitting there like, and I was looking at his hands a little bit. I'm sorry, come for me, but I didn't see his hands like even shaking. Like he looked cool, like cool, just hanging out, just sitting here, not in my prison clothes, for a minute. I mean, that's what I would be doing. I'd be enjoying that over anything, probably. If I was him, because I mean, he gets to sit down in the Latah County Jail in the basement all day, every day. That's going to be a miserable, miserable, miserable wait. And I wonder how many times a week he meets with Anne. I'm just curious. I wonder if it's like, or if he does meet with her like every week. So that's what we're going to get ready to go over. They're going to try to get that. I think they did get it vacated, like that. Their next court hearing. I think that's this document here. This is for the state, and so it's I'm not going to say who it's for. You know who it's for. Motion to extend time to respond to defendant's motion to dismiss indictment and to continue hearing. This is all of the hearing dates. So put this over here by me. Now comes the state of Idaho by and through the Latah County prosecuting attorney and respectfully moves this court for an order extending the time for the state to respond to defendant's August 23, 2023 motion to dismiss indictment on grounds of biased grand jury and admissible evidence, lack of sufficient evidence, and prosecutorial misconduct in withholding exculpatory evidence. The defendant's motion was filed on the afternoon of August 23, 2023, and was accompanied by a memo in support comprised of approximately 109 pages, 49 pages of which were made up of the defendant's arguments. So 109 pages, 49 pages of which were made up of the defendant's arguments, and the balance made up of various exhibits, which include affidavits and other materials. Among other things, the defendant's motion asserts detailed factual and evidentiary issues that will require not only review and submission of the entire grand jury transcript so that the court is able to access the defendant's claim in context, as well as what appears to be the complex scientific representation and disputes. In light of the above, the state is unable to properly research and respond to the defendant's motion by August 30th, nor be prepared for a substantive hearing on September 1st. The state, therefore, respectfully prays that the court extend the time for responding to defendant's August 23, 2023 motion to Wednesday, September 14th, and with reply from the defense due September 20th, 2023. So instead of the what was it, the first? Yeah, instead of the first. Didn't they have something else due on that date? Yeah, they had the discovery must be completed and a hearing on the defense motion to dismiss indictment was going to be held on that day. It says the state further prays that the court vacate the hearing currently scheduled for Friday, September 1st, 2023, and reset the same for September 22nd, 2023. The state concurs that the defense requests that their grand jury motions be heard at the same time. Consequently, the state prays that hearing the defense prior motion to dismiss indictment based on burden of proof also be continued and set concurrently with the hearing on the defendant's August 23, 2023 motion. The state asked defense counsel whether they are agreeable to this request, and they have indicated their agreement. See Ms. Taylor's signature below. The state further requests that the court extend time and reschedule as requested without hearing, or alternatively set an expedited hearing on this motion to extend time for Friday, August 25th, 2023 because of the shortness of time. Sorry, I was just listening. I read the chat. I was listening to the chat. Now I'm going nuts. Your birthday's the 1st? Well, happy early birthday. My birthday is October 17th. It's coming up too. I'm already buying pumpkins and stuff. Like, get me out of life right now. Like with the pumpkins. I've got too many pumpkins. Don't know why I've got like 6 pumpkins already and it's not even September yet, but I do. I've got 6 of them, little pumpkins. And every year we come back from California with like pumpkins or gourds. I know it's weird. It's weird. I know you don't think of pumpkins out there, gourds, but Vincent's mom, she grows them. And every year we get our peanut butter. We got caught with that one year from like not caught, but like TSA like stops us. Why do you have 15 jars of peanut butter? We don't know. We really had there was just too many. There was too many jars of peanut butter. She bought them for the dogs. It was cute. Same, Brooke. I know. I'm just like, I'm like, I saw the pumpkins last year and I was like, okay, these are kind of cool. So I ended up taking them all. I was like, we'll find a spot for them. Because I can't say no to his mom either. She's just too cute when she's walking around with like these little pumpkins in her hand. And they're like weird colors. They're like, they're not like orange. They're like green, and one was like black looking, but it looked really cool. It wasn't like, I don't know, maybe it was burnt or something. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. Maybe it's a certain kind of pumpkin that I don't know about. But yeah, they get us in TSA. And me and Vincent have the same travel bag, like carry-on bag. So we don't ever check who's we're dragging because we just have that much trust with each other, and we shouldn't, because he always ends up having something. Not me, him. But they stopped me. So the next motion that they had, and this is the final one that came out today, is going to be a motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. Anne doesn't want the cameras in there. She's not fond of the cameras. She gives reasons. So I'm going to give you the reasons. Camera wielding courtroom observers have failed to obey the court's June 27th directive to cease focusly exclusively on Mr. Kohberger, necessitating the expulsion of cameras from future proceedings. So I thought that they did a wonderful job on just keeping those cameras on the witnesses. I didn't watch last time they didn't have cameras. Or no, they did. They had cameras in. We just didn't get it till late. I haven't watched it yet, so I keep forgetting. Oh, Danny, it actually wasn't my idea to have matching carry-ons. It was Vincent's. He just grabbed them. We packed a suitcase one year and it was too heavy to take with us. And his dad had just passed. So we had already spent an extra $1,000 on the ticket. And the bag's too heavy. So he ran into one of those stores that just have random stuff for way too much airport stuff, and he bought 2 rolling bags, and I don't love them, but we use them every year because we're going to get our money's worth out of those things. They were expensive. He was like, just shove stuff in there. I was like, okay. I was like, if you need to go. It was a mad, crazy time at the airport. So, but let's hope I don't see anybody in the back of the airplane, and go crazy or anything like that one girl is that's on the internet right now. Oh man, that'd be bad. I thought they did a good job with that. So it says the question presented by this motion is whether Mr. Kohberger faces deprivation of his right under the 14th Amendment to due process by the televising and broadcasting of this trial. Recent press behavior in the courtroom clearly demonstrates that such is the case. Nearly 2 months ago, on June 27, 2023, the court warned press observers not to focus strictly on Mr. Kohberger and to show a wide shot of the courtroom if they wish to continue filming court proceeding live. Fox News, Bryan Kohberger judge issued warning to media at start of hearing on Idaho student murders, June 27, 2023. And it gives you the article. Press observers have thus far failed to comply with the court's direction as continued publication of images such as those shown below continues to the present day. No, those are probably the only shots that they got of him that day. What is she talking about? What are you talking about? Right, Mary Beth? What about the victims' rights? I know. Well, and that's the thing. That's the thing too. I was so mad about this. I don't know if I said this on the live or not, but I can't really remember what I said on that live. I kind of think I blacked out for a minute because I was crying. I was mad. But a lot of times with these cases, people start to forget the victims and they just remember the person that's charged with it. And I just don't want that to happen in this case. Which I'm going to make a video I'm going to make a nice tribute video. I was going to get it done on Saturday, but I was going to put it out on Saturday, but I'm going to put it out next Saturday. Because I got to get music and stuff for the background. But they really didn't have a whole lot of pictures of Bryan Kohberger walking into jail because I make thumbnails every day. I make them every day, but for Idaho, I probably make them 4 times a week. And I can never find good, non-blurry or pictures of Bryan. There's just really not that many of him going into court the last few times. Ever since they were told not to, that I didn't think that they did anything really wrong, but maybe I just didn't see it. It says these photos, a blatant violation of the court's directive to cease focusing exclusively on Mr. Kohberger in their own right, are also later appended to articles with blatantly sensationalistic and prejudicial headlines and content. The rightmost of the 3 photos above being used in an August 22, 2023 Daily Beast article. Reporter says Kohberger's creepiness with women goes back to high school. That has nothing to do with him going to court. Further, the camera's continued exclusive focus on Mr. Kohberger provides fodder for observers and purported analysts on social media who are not bound by notions of journalistic integrity and who have potentially an even greater reach than traditional media outlets. Are they talking about YouTube? The proliferation of these images and videos is plainly observable on social media platforms such as TikTok and X. Oh, that's not us. We cool. And posts such as those provided below. And it's just giving an example there. As previously been argued, the circumstances present in Mr. Kohberger's case are singular and pose an extraordinary risk of prejudice beyond even that posed in essays observation or observers continued failure to comply with the court's June 27th directive compounds this problem and results in the potential jury pool's constant inundation with conclusory accusations and sensationalistic nonsense. This is nonsense, these words, guys, as factual reporting and analysis. That's just them. They're just bitching about them being close up on Bryan's face, basically. Not doing a wide angle shot is what they're, yeah. And then the second one is observers continued minute scrutiny of counsel table is violation of the court's May 16th order governing courthouse and courtroom conduct and distracting to defense counsel. I guess they were trying to see what they were talking about. I need to say hydrated. Brooklyn, I just thought that. Oh, yeah. That's a good emoji. I should have that emoji. Might need Vincent to get that. I'm writing it down. He'll think of something like he'll think of something like has to do with that, but it'll be like, I don't know. He's so like, he's good at like being him. He's good at the emojis. It says, in addition to the inordinate and exclusive focus on Mr. Kohberger, courtroom observers have routinely violated the court's May 16, 2023 order providing in part that no video or still photograph shall be taken of any papers, documents, or notes which may be located on or around counsel tables or used by counsel. Well, everyone knows that rule. This non-compliance is clearly demonstrated in the below provided photos taken during the most recent hearing, and has continuously undermined the court's stated interest in maintaining order and an environment that permits all participants to focus on their responsibilities without undue distractions. Aware of the constant attention paid to counsel table and the risk that confidential and sensitive information could be scrutinized, photographed, and published, defense counsel has been forced to divert their attention to ensure notes and other materials are hidden from prying eyes. Is that why she had a mask on? Because I have never seen no article saying that she had no strep throat or she had COVID or whatever she had. So is that why she had her mouth covered? Was Summer right? She was trying to distract from her mouth. Wasn't necessarily her talking to like the witnesses. She didn't want people to hear her talking to Kohberger. Do you think that could be it? I don't know. You let me know, but I don't know. I'm just looking at the pictures. I don't know why I'm just so nosy. I mean, I guess you could like zoom in on her computer, but it doesn't look like it shows anything. I think it's just the zoom part. Conclusion, the press has failed to obey the court's directive not to exclusively photograph and record Mr. Kohberger and the exclusion of all else, jeopardizing his ability to undergo fair judicial proceedings free of undue prejudice and juror bias. As such, cameras must be expelled from the courtroom for the duration of Mr. Kohberger's case, including pretrial hearings as well as the trial itself. Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, no. And you can have your $200 an hour and everything and have them for a couple years, get some money, but we want cameras in the courtroom. I want to see. I want to see everything. I don't know, just Kohberger. I don't really care about Kohberger. I want to see the witnesses. I want to see the judge. I want to see the attorneys. I don't really care about Kohberger. I really don't want to see him personally. Oh, really? Before entering the courtroom, there was a post about someone getting over COVID. Okay. She was the only one that wore a mask, though, that we saw. Anyway, we didn't see anybody in the gallery. I don't think we did. Yep. Yeah, so what else do we want to see? And, you know, they did this in the Lori Vallow case, And now that these are going to be separated, like years are going to separate these two cases, they may go ahead and take the video cameras or the cameras out of there. But I know if they were to do that this year, that would have been like all hell would have been raised, because two huge big profile cases out of Idaho, and neither of them were going to be televised. That's crazy. Vivi said, I agree. I don't want to see them anymore. Me either. I was so mad the other day. My heart was broken for them family members. And like, you know, because when I say me, I don't mean like me. I mean like the family. Like, forget me, you know, I'm just like a YouTuber, but I just can't imagine being the family members. I'm going to close these tabs and then we're going to go over to the Nancy Grace documentary. But if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a second to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'd love to have you in the chat. If you'd love to chat with us, we'd love to have you. I'm just getting everything kind of ready. Oh, I was going to actually play you this little video. It's just like 5 minutes. And it will kind of like go over a little bit of everything. So let me share this. Also, I want to do one of those DNA kind of tests. So I might have to do it. I was going to do it all online with you guys, but I think I'll end up doxing myself. So I may have to get the test and like read over it and make sure, you know, I don't know if I'd put like my first, my last name in or how that really works. But if I can do it where it's online, I'll do it with you guys and then we can see how they work. If not, I'll do the DNA test and then I'll tell you about it. But we'll figure it out. I thought it would be a good idea. I'm going to go ahead and play this and then I'll be in the chat with you guys.
Bryan Kohberger's defense team, as Rich was just saying, or Steve was just saying, is raising issues with the prosecution not turning over all of the DNA evidence. For more on this, let's bring in now Robert Schulk. He's a defense attorney and a former prosecutor. So, Bob, good to have you here. Let's walk through this. You've got defense trying to compel the judge, his name is John Judge, to have the prosecution turn over all investigative and related evidence of genetic genealogy. Now, the judge has not made a decision here, but I wanted to ask you, is this a bona fide defense request or is it a stall tactic?
No, this is a bona fide legitimate defense request. Under a seminal case of the Supreme Court of Brady versus Maryland, the defense is entitled to information that potentially could exculpate them or could benefit them. The prosecution should err on the side of caution here and elect to turn over this information because this is the probable cause that led to Bryan Kohberger being a suspect in this case, then placing him in custody and then taking that confirmatory, what's known as a buccal swab. It's a cotton swab of the mouth that they use to get the more specific STR DNA that is used normally in criminal cases. This genealogy and this genetic genealogy information is definitely discoverable. The defense is doing the right thing. And again, unless the prosecution wants to lose this case on an appeal down the road, it seems like they have a strong case here. I would err on the side of caution. And when I was a homicide prosecutor, always turned this kind of stuff over because this is what causes great cases to be overturned at a higher court.
Now, the prosecutors say they do have one more test to present, but that test is still at the lab. So they're going to provide it, but, you know, they can only get it from the lab as quickly as the lab can process that. So does that seem like a reasonable position from the prosecution that saying, listen,
yes,
I have
absolutely.
one more vial.
These types of
okay.
Yes, these types of tests take a long time. There's a lot of paperwork that gets generated. There's a lot of individuals that peer review and review these types of cases before they're published. So the prosecution and the lab absolutely is allowed to take their time. It's not a delay or a stall tactic where they'll try to say, oh, look, it gotcha, and force the defense into a quick trial. The judge would be definitely incorrect and not grant a continuance if the DA's lab is taking longer than normal.
Mm-hmm. And the defense called Dr. Leah Larkin. She's one of 4 genetic genealogists testified on law enforcement searches of family DNA sites. I want to listen and then talk about it after.
If you add a kit to Family Tree DNA, they automatically opt you in. There is a way to opt yourself out, but you kind of have to know where to find it. It's not obvious. The total database at Family Tree DNA and the total database at GenMatch are both larger than the number of people who opted in.
Bob, I'm not sure if you were able to hear it, but if you were, what does this mean as it pertains to this case?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about DNA where individuals, I think Nancy was talking about earlier, are whether or not they're opting in to share their DNA, where this would be something that would be discoverable or something that could be used in a criminal case. And I think this is going to be, a groundbreaking case that potentially could go all the way up to the highest courts in the state and in the country for people who share their DNA with the 23andMe or Ancestry DNA. Are they going to be roped into? Are their identities going to be disclosed in homicide cases such as this, where they had no intention of sharing it, or either they didn't opt out on sharing it, or they didn't read the fine print, so to speak, and whether or not a court is going to more or less just allow blanket discovery of that information, which, protective orders would potentially have to be filed if people are scared, rightfully so, considering the facts of this case. So, I mean, it's going to be, like I said, groundbreaking on many levels, depending on how much discovery is turned over and what's allowed at the trial.
Huh. Well, so what do you think? How do you think the jurors see this? The jurors, this type of the move by the defense, part of the process they're thinking, or could they see this as some sort of sleight of hand trick?
You're going to have a battle of the experts in this case, because obviously the information that as we've seen it and it's been disclosed to the press and in the the court proceedings are that this is going to be a DNA case. The sheath of the knife on the nightstand directly tied to the defendant is going to be the biggest piece of evidence that they have, combined with the cell phone information and the tracking data that they do have, potentially placing him at that location. But if they were to lose this piece of evidence, it would be devastating for the prosecution. So it's going to be a battle of the experts. However, this is such a gruesome homicide, and I do think there's enough evidence that they're going to have that I would tip the scales probably towards the prosecution in these types of cases. They would have to fumble the football, to use a football analogy, to really not be able to get a conviction in this case. But again, that's where the experts come in. You don't know how much money the experts are being paid, what the jurors are going to believe, whether or not they're peer reviewed and peer tested. Have they screwed up on other cases in the past? And that's all going to come out on cross-examination.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the brutal murder, the brutality of this, because people's children were killed in the process.
Absolutely.
Robert Chalk. Bob, thank you for joining us.
Bob, thank you for joining us. Okay, I just wanted to show you that little clip there, but I think I'm going to try to do the DNA test, but Summer told me not to give my DNA. But I have to go I have to go to Idaho and somehow get arrested and get put near Bryan Kohberger. Just kidding. Just kidding. Maybe. I'm just lighting my candle really quick. I need my refresh candle. I'm going to move my picture over. There we go. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the Nancy Grace episode here. Let me pull it up for you guys. And thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for spending your Friday with us. That's awesome. I can hear that crackling back there. I like that noise that it makes. Okay. So this picture here to me, now that's a little like in your face. You know what I mean? That's a little close. Now I can understand if they were taking pictures like this, but they're not. What's going on with my... I'm sorry. There's like something going on with my wheel or something. I don't know. Okay, so let me go ahead and go over here and play this. And let me actually turn it down because it gets loud. So this is the new Nancy Grace episode documentary that she just came out with over Bryan Kohberger, and she has different guests from the Idaho murder suspect, Bryan Kohberger's life. And in his, past, they sit down and they have an on-person interview. And some of these people are going to be on camera for the first time. So we watched, I think, like 3 minutes of this last night, or like 2 minutes of it. And it seemed really like catchy. Like it was, pretty good. So if you guys wouldn't mind just taking a quick second to hit the like button. That way I don't have to pause it too many times to, bother you guys with that. So yeah, just hit the like and I'll be happy. I'll go ahead and play this for you guys. And I'll turn up the volume kind of slowly. That way it's not too loud for you guys. Well, maybe. I should refresh the page. You know what? I think I will. Let me stop this. Let me refresh that page because I haven't refreshed it in like a little while. It'll just go more smoothly if I do. Yep, there it is. Okay. That way we don't have any problems because I haven't seen this yet. I'm watching it with you guys. I didn't watch it last night. I wanted to, but I didn't. I think Vincent was trying to sneak in here and watch it, but I didn't let him watch it either.
Race is on and Fox Nation.
Hope I paused it.
Tragedy strikes a small college town.
It's literally like what nightmares are made of.
The hunt for a killer.
Like when you're a little kid and you think of the boogeyman.
And a nation on edge.
Grisly murders of 4 college students in Idaho.
Until
a suspect arrested.
Bryan Kohberger.
Bryan Kohberger.
I'm actually just from a very rural area.
The criminology PhD student showing little emotion.
I can actually see Bryan in my mind. Very solemn face.
I am playing a role.
Even now when people talk about him, they notice, say, oh, he's got those eyes.
It did kind of send up a little bit of a flag.
I am stuck.
And I'm like, oh my God, that makes sense.
Is this guy an incel? What was his motivation?
Girls still didn't like him and kept getting rejection after rejection.
I am intelligent.
I mean, he was a really nice guy.
I hope he's innocent.
I think there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye.
What do we know about Bryan Kohberger?
I am blank.
Blank, empty, devoid of any words, any meaning. These are the reported feelings of an alleged killer. We investigate Bryan Kohberger and fill in the blanks of his past, speaking with those who knew him through various stages of life. We learn exclusive details that paint a picture of the man who makes headlines when he's arrested for the murders of 4 beautiful University of Idaho students, Kelly Gonsalves, Maddie Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. Kohberger, of course, is innocent until proven guilty, but there is no doubt his arrest does put him under a microscope. Many wonder, who is Bryan Kohberger and what are investigators seeing in his past?
So my first impression of Bryan was he's just a pretty normal kid, He was more of a quiet, funny guy, but not really quiet, just.
Sorry to pause it already, but that guy, I mean, and I don't know who he is yet, but that guy looks just like that Casey Arnaz girl that came out in the beginning of this case that has the brother that was bullied by Kohberger. I wonder if that's him because he never came out and talked. It was just her, remember? She was the girl that went with Bryan to, he got her to drive him to get heroin, and she didn't know that's what they were going to do. But for some reason, when I looked at that guy, I just instantly thought of her. I don't know why, but I did. Like your brother.
The calm guy.
Jack Bayless meets Bryan Kohberger in middle school.
And he was very curious.
Like him, though.
That's probably one of the bigger traits remember for Bryan. What if reality is just a dream kind of stuff, Just really profound kind of stuff, I guess.
Bayless and Kohberger's friendship looks like any other. 2 teens being teens in rural Pennsylvania.
We just hang around in the woods and do teenage things, flipping rocks, looking for snakes, and hanging out and playing video games. I remember being at his house. It looked relatively cozy. It looked like a normal house. We had normal parents. If something was there that was off, I would have remembered it.
A normal home, normal parents, normal friends. By all accounts, from the outside looking in, everything is just that. Normal. Except for a medical condition that takes center stage in Kohberger's life from a very young age.
I know he also struggled with visual snow.
The condition makes him see static, like an old TV set. He starts writing about it in an online forum when he's 15 years old. The New York Times and true crime podcasters uncover these posts. In one, he says he's depressed, even suicidal.
I can't remember anything recent or anything from childhood. I'm just a blank soul living in the now. This whole thing has made me crazy. I feel like my life is pointless because people can think about times with parents' childhood memories and be happy, and I won't be able to.
So this is the first time I'm hearing, and I'm sorry to interrupt it again, but this is the first time I'm hearing that other people knew about Bryan Kohberger's visual snow. I didn't know that other people knew about that. I thought that was just like something that he wrote about on the internet just to kind of get his like feelings out or something. That's how I kind of took it, but wow.
Kohberger, the youngest in a family of 5, grows up in this house in a gated community, nestled in a quiet town, surrounded by the Pocono Mountains with older sisters, Melissa and Amanda, mother, Marianne, dad, Michael.
They were very involved parents. It seemed like he had a very supportive home environment, and the parents were always there if needed.
Donna Yozuiak, Kohberger's former guidance counselor at Pleasant Valley High.
Dad worked as a school mechanic. Mom was a paraprofessional. Very nice people. I met with them very frequently to discuss his career path.
During Kohberger's youth, his mother writes letters published in a local newspaper standing against abortion and for gun control. She also writes a letter against the death penalty, writing, quote, "State sanctified murder is still just that, murder." It's an eerie foreshadowing for a mom who may have to protect her own son from that very fate.
He stood out in the fact that he was very intelligent. He was very intellectual. He would delve into topics that are not on a shallow level. The truth of the matter is there were no red flags. He had very good grades. He seemed very focused, academically motivated, and would not give a school counselor any reason for concern.
Despite the persona Kohberger's teachers see, his online posts continue.
I always feel as if I am not there, completely depersonalized. Crazy thoughts. I feel like nothing has a point to it. When I get home, I am mean to my family. I can say and do whatever I want with little remorse. Everyone hates me. Pretty much, I am an asshole. I am intelligent, but I feel the opposite. I say things I don't mean.
In addition to the dark online posts, Kohberger also reportedly releases a song where he raps about being the devil.
You are not my equal, you are equal, but I'm feeble, and now I'm going regal. Don't fuck with us. You under us.
The lyrics are a stark contrast to Kohberger's lofty goals to protect and serve. During high school, he says he wants to be an Army Ranger and seeks out a special program in addition to his regular classes at the Monroe Career and Technical Institute.
I remember working with his family and him to fill out the application. He was enrolling in the Protective Services program, and he was very enthusiastic.
So Protective Services prepares students for a career in law enforcement, EMT, things like that. Police Academy Junior, putting on pretend handcuffs. They police the building just as though they would officers on patrol.
Tanya Carmela Beers, a former administrator at the tech school.
Enrollment is very competitive. Protective Services is one of the most sought after programs. The cap is limited at 25. So that means for the 4 school districts in Monroe County, only 25 students could get in.
He needed to have good grades. He needed to have good attendance. He needed to have a discipline record that was non-existent.
We look at.
Just going to pause that for a second. Does anybody else know what these, like a vocational school is? Do you guys have those where you guys live? Like trade schools? That's what this is. Yeah, you need to have decent grades, I guess, no, I don't even think all of them need decent grades in high school to go over there. But most of the time, Where I'm from, anywhere where I'm from, the kids that go to the vocational school, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying there's anything wrong with going to vocational school. My niece went to vocational school. She went for like auto mechanic, something like that. She's really good at what she does. She loves that stuff. But normally the kids that go to the vocational schools are the ones that are kind of troubled in a way. I don't know if that's like where you guys live, but that's like where I live. Most of the kids are like kind of troubled. There was a nursing program at our vocational school, and there was like 14 students, and 6 or 7 of them were pregnant in high school. It was like, what? They just went to the vocational school because they didn't want to be at their own high school, their home high school, to get made fun of for being pregnant. So they went to vocational school. They were there for nursing. They really weren't. But, there's nothing like, wrong with it. But I don't think that you need to have all those credits or anything like they're saying. I think you just apply and go. I guess like not everybody could get in because then the schools would be full, but I don't think that many kids want to go. Yeah, but they aren't only for troubled kids. Of course. Yeah, no, maybe. I agree. But that's where a lot of the troubled kids kind of go, because like that's just, I don't know. That's just kind of how it happened in my small town. I grew up in a super tiny small town where everybody just knew everybody. You know what I mean? So, but I think I know a lot of people that went to the vocational school though. Nothing wrong with it at all, especially if you can get that step further in your career. And that's why I'm pretty sure Bryan Kohberger decided to go that route. And that's a good idea, at the time.
All the information that we can get about them, because they are being given inside information about how police handle their business. Getting in can be tricky, but he was able to get into the program and he met all of those standards.
To this day, Carmela Beers and Joswiak can't picture Kohberger in the halls.
I can actually see Bryan in my mind. I can see him walking because he's very tall.
I see him in his protective services uniform. I remember him dressed that way, patrolling the school with other students.
He carried the uniform very, very well, and you could tell that it was a real sense of pride for him to be doing that. This was something he was always interested in, and something that he had always studied, and it was something that he had been looking at throughout even younger years.
He was very intrigued about the law and how he wanted to go into that field. He just wanted to help people.
Seeking a career in law enforcement or criminal justice, most people go into that because they want to make a difference. And then there are those that, it's fantasy material for them.
Dr. Chris Mohandy is a forensic psychologist. While there's no proof that we know of that Kohberger's studies are actually fantasy material for him, Mohandy is an expert in analyzing accused killers. He is not connected to this case. Mohandy believes some people who study the law are hiding more sinister motivations.
The things they're reading about are stimulating, but not in the right way. It's not the excitement of learning how you can serve your community better. It's the excitement of the offenses that they're learning about that becomes stimulating to them. Also because the power of the role in that area, their insatiable need for power over others.
When I think about how he took the program seriously, he was just very much needed to be in charge of everything. Like another student would watch the students for the day, be in charge of them as their patrol officer, if you will. He liked it when the other students answered to him, but it was to the nth degree. It was a little much. At that time, it seemed like he was just really zealous. But then when I think back about it, all of those things, knowing what I know now, are flags.
Flags that Carmela Beers and Bayless admit they only begin to notice after Kohberger's arrest.
Sometimes people snap, and you never know who's going to snap or why they snap.
One possible reason?
There are a number of ways people become arrogant and condescending. And one trajectory is a person who's been bullied, been made fun of, who may have had issues with their own body image.
He'd been a heavier guy, like a noticeably heavier guy. You could see it, Wasn't like he was, just a little chubby. He was pretty up there.
Some friends describe Kohberger as a, quote, overweight outcast. Socially awkward, they say he didn't really fit in. A classmate also recalls Kohberger's rocky relationship with women, saying Kohberger couldn't take a hint when he's rejected, leading girls to bully him and call him a creep.
Once or twice, he'd want to hang out with girls. Like, oh, we should call this girl to hang out. We should call this girl to hang out. And they'd always be busy or something.
Men who are frustrated, feel like they've been mistreated by women, view women as objects, have hostile, narrow-minded, rigid, intolerant views towards those women.
That is Dr. Mohande's description of an incel, short for involuntary celibate.
They are dismissive of women as, whole human beings. It's like, on the one hand, I hate you, but on the other hand, I want to possess you as an object. And how dare you reject me? There's no evidence that Bryan Kohberger was an incel. But an individual doesn't have to be an incel to be sympathetic to the ideas and the viewpoint of incels.
Once known as being bright, eager, with the world at his fingertips, things take a turn for Kohberger while he's in the Protective Services program. His administrator shares information on camera with us for the very first time.
There had been one or two incidents that had occurred that I had dealt with concerning him. For Bryan, the situations were subtle. They weren't really bold situations, but they rose to the degree as they began to mount.
Bound by a student confidentiality law, Carmela Beers cannot reveal exact details of the, quote, incidents, but she does disclose they are related to female students.
You might not think necessarily of a female in protective services, but that was something that we recruited for. So some of the issues that arose were based on having a mixed population in that classroom. One of those incidents ultimately resulted in him being removed from that program.
She says Kohberger's kicked out of Protective Services, the program he works so diligently to get into in the first place. The school transfers him into the HVAC program, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. This program has no female students.
We were also a little bit more comfortable knowing that any possible continuation of negative behaviors would not occur in a situation where there were no females. It was concerning because there was such a dichotomy between what he presented academically and what he was living in an emotional, social aspect of his life.
This dichotomy is evident in Kohberger's reported online posts.
I am stuck in the depths of my mind, where I have to constantly battle my demons. I might spiral out of control and lose myself in the void. I felt like a criminal, but where was my record? I am blank. I have no opinion. I have no emotion. I have nothing. Can you relate?
Kohberger's friend Jack Bayless recalls an extreme change in his once shy friend.
He lost a lot of weight, like really fast, but I feel like he was more confident in himself. I think he had to have vocalized his confidence, like, now I lost this weight, I'm probably more attractive.
Kohberger loses 130 pounds by his senior year of high school. He did it by running and boxing every single day. Kohberger also writes about his transformation in the same online posts revealed by true crime podcasters and the New York Times.
I used to be this healthy blonde-haired boy with blue eyes, and in a few years, I have darker hair and darker eyes, half the body weight.
The bullying, the body image issues, those become the seeds from which a need to create a false self that is superior to others emerges.
Friends claim Kohberger develops anger issues, even putting one friend in a headlock, leading that friend to cut ties. Bella says he only sees that side when Kohberger's drinking.
When he get drunk, he get kind of aggressive, kind of rowdy. There's one instance where he was trying to drive somewhere and we had to take his keys and hide them. So when I say aggressive, I mean we had to physically move him from the keys and prevent him from getting his keys.
Friends allege alcohol use turns to drug abuse, and Kohberger gets hooked on heroin. He and Bayless lose touch.
He started kind of branching out from the original group to hang out with a different group. that group, they did some sketchy drugs.
Rich Pasca is a former acquaintance of Kohberger. He tells Fox the two were deep into an addiction.
I met him through some friends, and they told me that he was a little weird, and he was a little socially awkward, I guess you could say. But he wasn't a bad guy. I got 6 years clean now. I work in treatment and everything, but back then I was using, and so that's how I know for a fact he was using. I've got high with him a couple times.
Teachers say heroin use is a major problem in that area. At the same time, Kohberger's alleged heroin addiction is at its height, his troubles at the tech school continue.
He was in HVAC for the rest of his time at the Career and Technical Institute, and other issues arose that he decided to leave the school altogether and not complete his 12th grade year there.
After leaving the program, Kohberger finishes his senior year of Pleasant Valley High online, graduates, and reportedly gets help for his addiction.
I know he was in and out of rehab a couple times.
Around that time, Kohberger reportedly arrested for stealing and selling his sister's iPhone after his own father calls police. He is charged with misdemeanor theft, but does not go to jail, and his record is wiped clean. Somehow, Kohberger kicks his heroin habit and begins to study psychology at community college. Even though some say he's got a rocky past with his former school district, he applies as a part-time security guard at his former high school.
I do know he was, always interested in law enforcement. That's usually kind of a dip your toes in the water kind of experience, is being a security guard for somewhere where you don't have to have that police training.
While on the job, Kohberger reportedly helps a fellow security guard save the life of a hall monitor struggling to breathe. Kohberger's life seemingly takes a turn for the better. Like most college students, he reportedly decides to put himself out there in the dating world. But the trends from high school go on. Only after his arrest, a woman named Haley Willette comes forward. She says she meets him through Tinder during his early college years and that he's very pushy and a stage 5 clinger. Willette says Kohberger tells her she has good birthing hips. This behavior, again, reminds Dr. Mohandi of an incel.
Themselves. A lot of them are socially awkward. They're going to use the dating apps. They may misrepresent themselves, sort of catfish, if you will. But when it comes down to relating on an emotional, true connection, it's going to fall short.
After graduating community college, Kohberger moves on to DeSales University and continues to study psychology, reconnecting with his childhood friend.
To me personally, he really opened up more in his later college years. We're talking more than we talked in high school. He called me fairly often.
Bella shares private messages from around this time.
He goes and says, I like forensic psychology and studying criminals. I don't care about the money. And he's saying, I would assist in the capture of a violent criminal for sure, but getting a job like that is difficult. I'm thinking more along the lines of dealing with high-profile offenders.
In the messages, Kohberger also opens up about the root of his teenage heroin addiction.
I only used when I was in a deep suicidal state. And he says, I've been depressed for so long that I developed a weird sense of meaning. And he says, I've been depressed since I was 5.
One of the main topics of discussion, women.
So the thing we talk about a lot, the dating scene, it just got kind of just really hard. But he was just having a time, getting ghosted a lot, talking to a girl and then wondering, why didn't she text back ever? And then also be like, yeah, I was talking to this girl or this girl was cute and I thought we hit it off and we didn't, I guess. So he'd vent about stuff like that to me. I think he just felt frustrated is just the biggest word.
Frustrated, a feeling Dr. Chris Mohandi believes is common for incels.
So there's a sense of entitlement that goes with this community of men. Some who actually commiserate, in their hatred of women, in their frustrations with not being able to obtain their desired, idealized, woman as a sexual object.
The owner of a brewery comes forward and recalls Kohberger making creepy comments towards female staff and customers. Others, like Kohberger's former classmate Josh Ferraro, have positive memories.
I mean, he was a really nice guy. The guy that I went to college with, that dude was nice. My first impression of him was he's a little odd, but he's a nice guy. You know, does not stand out, but you know, he blended in. Like, he was a pretty normal guy.
Kohberger graduates undergrad and continues at DeSales to get a master's in criminal justice. He dives deep into research, seeking out ex-cons for a project, then posting a survey with questions like, before making your move, how did you approach the victim or target? And after committing the crime, what were you thinking and feeling? While getting his master's, Kohberger has one final get-together with his childhood friend.
The last time I saw Bryan, he was looking really good. It looked like he kicked his hair condition. He looked healthy. That day, we went into the woods. We have a lot of trees that you can just kind of hide behind. And we just shot airsoft guns at each other and just kind of ran around the woods with airsoft guns. When I left him that day, I felt probably more at ease because the last time I talked to him, we'd been having problems. It looked like those problems had subsided. He was calm, he's a collected, confident man. Nothing seemed terribly off.
Nothing seems terribly off, but trouble is brewing. After nearly 5 years on the job, Kohberger resigns as the part-time security guard. His resignation letter reads, I understand that if I do not resign, I have a right to a school board hearing to determine if I should be dismissed from employment with the school district. The reasons behind Kohberger's resignation remain unclear. While finishing his studies at DeSales, Kohberger, now 28, reportedly buys a K-bar knife and a sheath on Amazon. Months later, he moves cross-country to Pullman, Washington to get his PhD in criminal justice from Washington State University, 20 minutes down the road from University of Idaho. Kohberger applies for an internship with the Pullman Police Department. In his application, he expresses an interest in helping cops, quote, better collect and analyze technological data in public safety operations. He doesn't get the job, but he is hired as a teaching assistant. He has a number of issues on campus. As a student, it's claimed he's pushy, known for sitting front and center, quickly offering opinions, and regularly battling with female professors.
As we look at Bryan Kohberger, we start to learn about him as a person who is described by others as arrogant, having haughty attitudes, and that's certainly a personality structure that is consistent with one who might not look at others, including women, as his equal.
And off campus, he has issues as well, allegedly sneaking into a female friend's apartment and moving her furniture around, and having this exchange with a female police officer who pulls him over.
I think you know why I stopped you. You ran the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so I
was behind you the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up. And not.
You're just supposed to wait behind the white line. Drivers do it all the time. But
it never even occurred to me that was actually something wrong. I'm just curious about the law. I don't mean to.
Oh no, yeah, I can find it for you. Yeah.
As a teaching assistant, he's said to be a very harsh grader. Faculty tells Kohberger they're concerned about his behavior after he has an alleged altercation with a professor. That's less than 2 weeks before Moscow, Idaho is changed forever.
Moscow police have confirmed they found 4 people dead in this neighborhood just off of King Road, south of the University of Idaho.
Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin.
Police in the school have insisted that this was an isolated crime of passion.
In the weeks following the murders, The WSU and University of Idaho campuses on edge with the killer on the loose, but classes continue. Former students say Kohberger, a once harsh grader, suddenly starts giving good marks. Yet he's fired from his TA position after only a few months on the job for failing to meet, quote, norms of professional behavior. As Thanksgiving break approaches and Moscow authorities remain tight-lipped about a suspect in the gruesome killings on King Road, Kohberger embarks on a father-son road trip from Washington to his hometown in Pennsylvania, getting pulled over not once.
Where are you headed? Well, we're coming from WSU.
But twice within the span of just 9 minutes.
Hello, guys, scared of airplanes?
While 4 families mourn the loss of their loved ones, Kohberger makes it home for the holidays with his family. Authorities are quietly monitoring his every move. They allegedly watch him clean out his Hyundai Elantra and take family trash to the neighbor's bin in the middle of the night. One of Kohberger's own sisters reportedly grows suspicious of her brother's behavior and searches his car for possible evidence.
Agents recovered the trash from the Kohberger family residence in Pennsylvania to get a family DNA sample. The next day, the Idaho State Lab matched it to the DNA from the knife sheath.
In a bed next to one of the victims, a knife sheath.
The 2 samples were related with at least 99.998% certainty.
Police make their move.
Bryan Kohberger is in custody, arrested in Pennsylvania this morning.
Kohberger was arrested without incident and charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder.
I was playing Call of Duty with my friends, and one friend said, "Did you hear about those murders? The guy that did them lives down the road from me." I'm like, "Oh, that's nuts." But I looked up Idaho murders, and my first thought was, "Oh my God, that's Bryan." That internal battle is like, this is the guy I knew, and it's the guy I cared about and what's best for him. But at the same time, what he possibly did is heinous to a level where it's like, it's irredeemable.
I heard his name on a news alert, and I immediately was shocked. And I looked at my husband who was driving, and I said, "Bryan Kohberger, he was one of my students, and I know his family and sisters very well." Because he had such supportive parents, I was very surprised to hear the accusations that are now wielded against him.
Bryan was a very good student. He was very serious about what he wanted to do. So hearing that such an egregious crime was committed was very surprising. I started to think about incidents that had occurred. And then I thought, well, that makes sense. Everybody is affected by this. Teachers, guidance counselors, everyone who has come in contact with him and had some kind of relationship, or any of the students at some time, are directly affected by this. The parents are people, sisters are people, the family are people.
Kohberger's family says he's, quote, a caring son and brother.
The search warrant for Idaho quadruple murder suspect Bryan Kohberger's apartment. Police found reportedly a pillow with a reddish brown stain, one nitrate type black glove, a possible hair strand, and shoes with diamond pattern soles, which matches the footprint that was found at the scene.
Judge John Judge read Kohberger his rights.
You understand these rights?
Yes. Then the charges.
Count 1, burglary. Count 2, 3, 4, 5, murder in the first degree. Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing aside.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on each charge.
Just based on the evidence they have and all the information that the police have gathered, he's looking pretty guilty.
But BLS hopes he's wrong.
I still hope he's innocent. There's still some part of me that, not my friend. I don't want my friend to have been the one that committed these crimes. It's just, it's kind of rough thinking that I had someone like that in my house and in my life.
Kohberger sits in the Latah County Jail just 5 minutes from the murder scene. He maintains his innocence.
If you do what is evil, be afraid, for it does not bear the sword for nothing. For it is a minister of God, an avenger, who brings wrath upon the one who practices evil.
Chaplain Mike Hall is the president of Project Hope.
I oversee, and we have a number of volunteers that go into the Lake Tahoe County Jail and do Bible studies on Sunday nights. We pray with inmates and share the gospel with them.
Like most involved in the Idaho case, the chaplains are barred from speaking about Kohberger.
There's a confidentiality between those who might be confessing something and the minister or chaplain.
But Hall gives us a window into the types of conversations Kohberger may be having behind bars.
You know, some of the guys that have been volunteering and going in, chaplains, they have met with various inmates, including Bryan, and, you know, they're able to answer questions about where is grace found, where is freedom found, where is forgiveness.
Dr. Mahandi questions any alleged killer's intentions for starting Bible study.
Certainly, religion and spirituality is a place for people to find comfort when they're overwhelmed by fear and uncertainty for their future. On the other hand, it can be for sympathy, to look good, in the eyes of, a trier of fact in the face of sentencing.
As Kohberger awaits his fate, his lawyers demand more information from prosecutors about the DNA found at the crime scene of 3 other unidentified males. They also share Kohberger's alibi, claiming he was driving around alone late at night at the time of the killings.
I'm hoping that he is innocent, as he's claiming to be. Once the facts come out, then I will form an opinion. But right now, Bryan is innocent until he's proven guilty. If he is guilty, what snapped?
For Bryan, if he has done this and he's found guilty, then I would encourage him to confess that and to admit what he's done, not just be convicted in a court of law, but to confess that and to make amends and apologize for what he's done.
Prosecutors announce they will seek the death penalty against Kohberger, something his mother railed against in her article 15 years earlier. She was trying to protect lives of convicted criminals. It's very ironic now that, although she didn't know it at the time, she was also looking to protect the life of her own son.
Going into the next life is a scary proposition. If you're facing the death penalty, desperation is a very clear thing. There's a sense where, there's nothing I can do to make myself right with God.
While the nation waits to see exactly what Kohberger's trial will hold, for families will never be the same.
That our hearts grieve with the families. As a father myself, I can't begin to imagine the pain and suffering that these folks have gone through.
If he did kill his people, it's such a heinous thing and all abhorrent to an indescribable level.
With all eyes on Kohberger, Jack Bayless says the scariest part.
It could have been anyone. It could be your neighbor, it could be your teacher, it could be your best friend of 30 years. There was no clear signs of good or bad. He's just a normal guy with normal circumstances, as far as I know. And that's probably the scariest part.
Our investigation exposes just how complex the alleged killer really is. Kohberger has been charged, not convicted. He's innocent until proven guilty. We wait as justice unfolds.
Oh, that's just like special thanks to those people. But that was a good that was a good video. That was a good documentary. Nancy was a little different. She wasn't barking at people. It was weird. She's back here though. Don't worry. She's been barking at me all night. Just kidding. Just kidding. No, I actually saw this last night. I was like, this is really good because I have a documentary for you guys tomorrow over Bryan Kohberger's arrest. It came out in like the beginning of August, but I have not heard it anywhere. And I played you guys a podcast off of there before, and I had not heard that one anywhere either. So I think it's going to be really good. Probably some stuff that we haven't seen before. So let me tell you about that for tomorrow. So tomorrow we're basically going to go back in time again because we've been doing we're doing like a 4 or 5, probably like a 5 or 6 part series. We'll probably make it like maybe 5 parts, maybe 6 parts. But we're going back in time and we're like redoing, rereading the PCA and all this stuff, and all the evidence has come out, and we were going through the press conferences. So right now we're caught up to Bryan Kohberger's arrest. So I have a podcast. I'm going to put some pictures around it. That way it's better to look at. And we'll play that tomorrow. And then we'll go through the arrest and then the press conference that they had. So I think it'll be a good time. So you guys could just join us if you'd like to join us tomorrow, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're here every day, chilling, talking true crime sometimes with Nancy. It's been Nancy a lot lately. Nancy's had my back lately. Like, you're clutch, Nancy. She's been off for a little bit with me. I feel like we didn't have any Nancy going on for a while. But ever since I've gotten the cardboard cutout, it seems like she's been doing a lot more videos. It's weird. I'm going to see how long we went, because we went for like 2 months without any Nancy. She knows. She knows. She's watching the show. Just kidding. Just kidding. I bet you she is, though. I'm going to go ahead and jump off of here. I hope you guys all have a great night. I'm actually getting off here like pretty early tonight. Wow, only an hour and 38. What? We did do a live earlier today over Jared Vertigan. If you want to go watch that, it's available. And it was we were talking about his ex-wife and her husband, and then the other person that's being charged with that in that case also. So we're talking about them today, and it was a really good live. It was nice. It was a smaller group, but it was fun. Thank you. And thanks everybody for being here. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. I know you guys could be doing anything you want tonight, but you're here hanging out with me and Nancy. I got to get a blue coat like hers. That's what I need to look up. Blue. Hold on. I'm not even going to go off this live before I look it up, because I know me and I'll forget. And I want a powder blue jacket like Nancy. So where am I going to find one? Let's see. For women. Oh, bam. Uh-oh. We might have something. I'll get something that looks close enough. I'm like looking at her in the camera. But I love you guys. You guys have all have a great evening. If you guys want to subscribe to the channel, that'd be great. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to new content. We're almost at 11,000 subscribers. We're like we're like under 100. I don't even know. Or like a little over 100, maybe 100 and something. So we're doing really good, guys. Wow. Can't believe it. But I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. Bye, guys.